I'm just gonna wait a couple seconds for it to load and notify everyone before we get started answering all the questions. Actually, my hands are dry, so always in the winter when the weather gets cooler, my skin's always more dry because we have the heater running on in the house all the time, and it makes my skin dry. So I actually love using, not sponsored, I love using Shusha's Truly Organic Healing Eczema Balm, and I just apply it to my hands. So I'm going to do that right now that I'm not holding my phone. So you can just literally put it anywhere, just it's like a stick, and you can just apply. So I'm just going to do that so my hands are nice and hydrated. And then we can get started. Should have brought some water because I think I'm going to need some. All right. So I guess we'll get started. Today was a full day, lots of everything happening with work. So I'm pretty tired, but I do want to spend about half hour just going through some questions and chatting with you guys a little bit on health stuff. I put most of my energy and most of like the live videos on my other platforms, and it's been a little bit of time since I've done a live on YouTube. So I wanted to come on here and do that. If whoever's joining or watching, you guys can post any questions that you have for me in the chat, and I will try to get back to everybody within the time frame. So I have a couple things to talk about also in this video. And the first thing is that well, I guess I should kind of go back a step. I am going to Friday. Yes, Friday, I believe it'll be this March 6th. I posted this in my stories here on YouTube, but Friday, March 6th, I will be going live for members of holisticspring.org, which is my membership platform, and I'll be talking all about biofilms and biofilm disruptors. And there's different biofilm disruptors that you want to use depending on the type of infection or dysbiosis that you have. So if you have certain viruses, certain types of fungus, types of bacteria, you want to be using different biofilms to target them. So I will be going live on Zoom only for members of holisticspring.org to talk about that. So you guys can still get access to that if you sign up before March 6th. You'll get a link to join the Zoom call with me. It's really intimate because there's not a lot of people that actually join these calls, and you get to ask any questions, but then also get to listen in on some good information that I don't share anywhere else. So just want to let you guys know about that. You can go to www.holisticspring.org and you guys can join there. Okay, let's see. Hi, Paul. Hi, Marissa. So I guess I'll start with Paul's question. And I do have a couple questions that I have brought over from Instagram that I will also like to answer. So Paul is asking, would you recommend intermittent fasting for anxious people? I actually think it can be really beneficial. There's a lot of really good benefits to fasting. To go through it briefly here, intermittent fasting allows your body to cleanse and allows your cells to regenerate, allows inflammation in the brain to come down. And typically, if you're having anxiety, there's some imbalance with the neurotransmitters, and that a lot of times that can come from brain inflammation. So if you're fasting, your body's cleansing and rebalancing these neurotransmitters, so it absolutely can help with anxiety. However, you want to do it right. So a lot of times people will fast, they'll eat till 8 or 9 p.m. at night and then fast through the middle of the night and not eat until the next day, say 2 or 3 p.m. Or even 1 p.m. That's not the right way to do it. If you have anxiety, you want to eat with your circadian rhythm, which typically means you're going to eat upon waking and then stop eating in the early evening. So I'll explain just really quickly what exactly that entails and why you want to eat that way. So the second that we wake up and open up our eyes and we see physical daylight, our body instantly starts producing cortisol and insulin. And as our body's producing cortisol and insulin, you're going to have your body's expecting you to eat. So if you eat a meal within an hour of waking up, you're balancing your blood sugar because there's already insulin floating around the system waiting for glucose so it can attach to it. Your cortisol's waiting as well. If you don't eat, then this insulin and cortisol doesn't get, it's not received by the cells, so it just kind of recirculates and you end up with these spikes in blood sugar. So eating, within an hour of waking up is great because then that means you can have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but earlier, and finish eating in the evening, say around 6:30, when your body's expecting you to stop eating. And if you eat within your circadian rhythm, within your internal clock mechanisms, then by the evening, as you get into the early evening and the sun starts to come down, your body can produce melatonin. Neurotransmitters are very much in balance, and you'll see that if you do this pretty consistently, your anxiety calms down. So the best way to fast for everybody, doesn't matter who, but especially if you have anxiety or depression, would be to eat within an hour of waking up in the morning, so 9 a.m. ish. Stop eating by around 6 p.m. and only have like herbal teas at night, and fast through the evening and night. So instead of fasting until 1 p.m. the next day, just fast in the evening and night and eat in the morning. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, so for whoever's joining, this is just a Q&A, so feel free to post your questions in the comments and I'll try to get back to everybody. Let me see here. What specifically causes brain fog? I know food intolerance is poor sleep, but do you know what is actually happening in the brain? Yes, brain fog is toxicity. So when you have dysbiosis or you're having a lot of toxins coming in from your environment or things like that, what actually is happening is these toxins being released from pathogens, or these toxins coming from stress, or toxins coming from something in your environment or your food, it is passing the blood-brain barrier, and these toxins then trigger brain inflammation. So that's the gist of it. Toxins can actually damage brain cells as well. So there can be a little bit of that. If you feel like you have horrible memory, you can't recall that fogginess, that it's coming from toxicity at the end of the day. So it doesn't necessarily matter where the toxicity is coming from. It's mainly toxins in the brain. And so then you want to figure out, okay, where are the toxins coming from so you can address it. So if it's coming from pathogens, you want to do a good Candida parasite type cleanse. If it's coming from foods, you want to cut out toxic foods. If it's coming from food sensitivities, you want to address that. If it's heavy metals, you want to maybe look at your mercury fillings in your mouth or something else. So, people who have a lot of grains like rice typically have higher arsenic levels. So just really kind of dive deep into where your toxins might be coming from. And usually by clearing out toxins, I like using drainage for that, liver and kidney drainage, and colon drainage and blood drainage, then the brain can clear out and the brain fog typically tends to lift. Okay. L is asking, best thing for anxiety or panic attacks, especially if it interferes with everyday life, driving, shopping, etc. I'm just going to list a couple supplements. So anxiety, panic attacks, this is a big topic. I actually have, if you go to my main website, holisticspring.com, and click the ebooks tab, I'll try to link it down below if I remember. But if you click the ebooks tab, you'll see I actually have an anxiety ebook that's super affordable, and it goes into a lot more detail about panic attacks, anxiety, and specific supplements and lifestyle things or changes that you want to make. But I'll just list a couple supplements that I find really help with anxiety and panic attacks. But you do want to get to the root cause at the end of the day. Some people, it's past traumas in their life that they need to address and move past. For others, it's a nutrient deficiencies. Others is poor methylation if you have MTHFR or other genetic SNPs. Other people could be food sensitivities. It could be dysbiosis. So there's a lot that can trigger it. You have to get to the root cause of that, either working with a practitioner or kind of experimenting on yourself. But a couple supplements that can help, I would say pretty much across the board, but of course check with your practitioner before taking them, would be number one, CBD. If you're having panic attacks or anxiety, it's very, very calming for your body. So I would say CBD's up there for me. Magnesium glycinate is also pretty high. I would suggest taking some magnesium as it calms the nervous system. Those are, two of my favorites. Valerian root or kava are also really good herbs that you can look into, but need to be taken for specific people. So don't just take supplements, by someone's recommendation. Just make sure that they're right for you. But again, valerian root or kava are really great for anxiety and panic attacks. So those would be my go-to. Also doing things like hot Epsom salt baths, herbal teas like chamomile before bed, sleeping with your circadian rhythm. So going to bed, between 9:30 and 10:30 and waking up between 6 and 7 in the morning. All that kind of stuff, exercising. These can help overall balance the body, but you still, again, want to get to the root cause of the anxiety and address that. Hi, Brian. Okay, so Legal Eaglet says, so grateful to have found your channel. You have taught me a lot. I'm struggling with Candida overgrowth right now and feel a little overwhelmed as to what to do first, as I tend to be hypoglycemic. Any tips? Well, first of all, thanks for joining and for being here. Thank you, everybody who's here and following me on this channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. So a couple tips that I can suggest. The one thing is, when you're hypoglycemic, you do want to obviously be careful with your blood sugar. So first and foremost, I would be doing things to balance your blood sugar. I really like things like choline and inositol. I also really like doing like a cinnamon supplement as well. But when you are hypoglycemic, you absolutely can do the Candida cleanse. If you're doing my Candida cleanse, I have an ebook on it. You're actually allowed to have carbs. You just have to choose the right ones. So I know certain people have a hard time on a Candida cleanse because they're pretty much eating keto if they're following any other type of cleanse, and that's obviously not ideal if you're hypoglycemic. So my cleanse, you actually can have carbs. You just want to choose carbs that are the right ones, like squashes are safe, buckwheat, quinoa, millet, lentils, berries, peas. What else do we do? Even some green apples, fine. So like you absolutely can get your carbs in. You just have to choose the right ones, and always include protein with each meal or snack so that you're having stabilized blood sugar levels. But you can certainly do a Candida cleanse properly as long as you're just having the right carbs. So you don't want to do anything that tastes physically sweet, obviously aside from like stevia. But sweet potato, starchy things like white rice, those should not be touched. But you can get carbs again through buckwheat and quinoa and squashes and that kind of stuff. So your body's getting the starch and carbs that it needs, but they're in a form that are really high in fiber and low on the glycemic index scale. And that can help. And if you do need a quick surge in energy, you could do berries, grapefruit, green apples, that kind of stuff. So that's what I would be suggesting. Obviously eating frequently, so don't ever let your blood sugar drop too low, but taking things to stabilize your blood sugar can help as well. Those are the main tips that I have for you. If you're hoping for something a little more specific, you can comment below, but I hope that helps. Okay. What are the best supplements to take for someone who's having a lot of intense menopause symptoms? A lot of it is mood related and fatigue. This is a great question. Usually, if you're having menopausal symptoms, it's because there's not enough estrogen in the body. Obviously, the ovaries stop producing estrogen in the amounts that it used to. So I would suggest consuming things that help to boost your estrogen levels. Cruciferous vegetables are amazing. Soy-based foods that are organic and really clean, like organic edamame, organic sprouted tofu or tempeh are great. Inositol is a great supplement to take. I love doing spearmint tea. You also could do like red raspberry leaf tea, which is great for the ovaries. And I also like European mistletoe young shoot as well. It's a great supplement, but always check with a practitioner before taking that. There's also some things that you can apply topically to help with these as well. So doing an evening primrose oil, either ingesting or applying it topically, is wonderful. Ancient Nutrition has an essential oil. It's called Hormones for Women, but also Young Living has one as well that you can mix with like a carrier oil and apply it topically to the wrists, the neck, the bottoms of the feet, and the ovary area. So those are some things that I would be suggesting. But yeah, you want to do things that can support your estrogen levels. eating within the circadian rhythm, getting really, really good quality sleep, again, by sleeping with your circadian rhythm. It's so important. A lot of times women will, go to bed midnight and wake up at 8 in the morning. That's not how your body is meant to function. So you want to go to sleep when you're feeling tired, wake up with the sun, eat upon waking, intermittent fast in the evening and night. So all the tips that I kind of gave earlier, but yeah, eating estrogen boosting foods like flax as well. So lots of phytoestrogens. Flax seeds probably are my favorite. I put them in my smoothies. I bake with them. I will take them as a supplement. They're just great all around. So hopefully that helps. Okay. Cynthia Rios asks what we recommend for kidney cysts and UTIs. So obviously kidney cysts are complicated. I can't really give a ton of info without knowing all the history in the background, but what I can say is that very often if somebody's having issues with the kidneys or kidney inflammation or inflammation within the urinary tract, they're far too acidic. Acidity can come from uric acid toxins, which can come from stress, from acidic foods, and also especially glyphosate and pesticides. They are the number one destroyers of your kidneys. They make your body incredibly acidic. And if you have a lot of acidity, they can inflame the urinary tract and create inflammation within the kidneys, which can create cysts as well. So I would suggest kidney drainage. I have liver and kidney drainage in my Candida, my seasonal Candida and parasite cleanse ebook, which is on my main website, holisticspring.com. I also have liver and kidney biotherapeutic homeopathic drainage on the membership platform, holisticspring.org. For anybody who wants some homeopathic drainage, you guys can get them from either one. So I would suggest doing some good liver and kidney drainage, drinking plenty of water, but making sure that your water's filtered properly to filter out glyphosate, pesticides, things like that. Doesn't matter if you're on well water, if you have, your own type of cistern, or if you are drinking city water. With the water tables that we have, especially in the case of well water, there's will always be some form of pesticides or herbicides. If you have cistern and you have your gutters are collecting rainwater, those two from evaporation, there is going to be pesticides and toxins within that water. And then city water has it all. So highly suggest an incredible filter. My favorite's a Berkey. You can get the smaller ones, so they're more affordable. And if you have kidney cysts or UTIs, that's what you need to be doing. Filtering your water, but drinking a lot of it. Your kidneys can't drain or flush if there's not enough urine output to get all the uric acids out. And also for UTIs, you want to balance your internal pH. So eat very alkaline, at least 2 to 3 big organic leafy green salads every single day. On top of that, having green vegetables like asparagus, broccoli, etc. And you want to do the liver and kidney drainage with that for a little while. And with UTIs, usually there's dysbiosis. So you want to be addressing dysbiosis as well by doing some sort of pathogen cleanse. So there's a lot happening. If you're to do anything, get good quality filtered water, eat organic, and really, really alkaline. And that's the basic starting point. Okay, let's look at the next question. There's a lot of questions, so I'm just scrolling through everything. Prasad P says, please let us know some remedies about for H. pylori or ulcers. So I actually have a video on this on YouTube already, but a couple of my favorite remedies in general for the stomach. And actually I should say H. pylori is actually pretty complicated. I know people downplay it and they think if they just take something like oregano oil, they can fix it. It's actually a pretty complicated pathogen to have in the body, and it is one of the more common pathogens that will create a biofilm. And so you need to disrupt that biofilm in order to actually reach the pathogens itself. So this can get pretty complicated. For those of you who joined later and missed my intro in the beginning, I am doing a biofilm discussion on Zoom for members of my membership platform, holisticspring.org. You got it. That's going to be on Friday, March 6th. you guys can sign up for the platform and join the call live with me. It's only a few people join, so it's a really intimate setting, and you guys can ask questions, but I will be talking about biofilms and biofilm disruptors and different pathogens that require different biofilm disruptors. So all of that information will be in that video, but it does get pretty complicated. A couple things that I love if you have ulcers or H. pylori is aloe vera gel. It is antibacterial, antimicrobial, incredibly soothing. It will coat your stomach to prevent the ulcers from getting worse. It can target H. pylori, but usually you want to pair it with certain biofilm disruptors. So aloe vera gel. I also love marshmallow root. It's another one of my favorites, as it will also coat the digestive system in the stomach and prevent any irritation towards the ulcers. I would suggest taking some type of antifungal or anti-pathogenic type supplement, like a black walnut or olive leaf. Olive leaf is one of my favorites. Those are some of my favorites. You could do L-glutamine as well, which is really soothing. And then your diet should be really alkaline and lots and lots and lots of broth. So bone broths, veggie broths, medicinal mushroom broths, herbal teas, but lots of soothing things, and really try to avoid anything acidic or anything that requires a lot of effort for your stomach to break down, like acidic meats and things like that. Okay. So Steve M asks about omega-3s and how they might be important for gut health. Yes, absolutely. So your immune system, there's 70% of it is in our gut, as we all know by now, and your immune system needs omega-3 fats in order to create immune cells, to create antibodies, to clean out pathogens from the system. So if you don't have enough omega-3 fats, your immune system can't function. If your immune system can't function, you'll have dysbiosis in the gut, which leads to gut inflammation, and you guys know what happens after that. Omega-3 fats also help to build the tissues in our gut lining as well. So definitely important for gut health, and they also support your brain. And we know that there's a gut-brain connection. If you have brain inflammation, you'll have gut inflammation, and vice versa. So you want to make sure that you're keeping inflammation low, and omega-3 fats do that as well. So definitely a lot of benefits for taking them for the gut. Okay. Al is asking which hormonal imbalance can be the reason for CFS-like symptoms following childbirth. Could you explain a little bit more about what you mean? I'm not sure I actually understand that question. So if you can just comment it again, I will try to answer that. Mammoth Pinky asks, is it fine to take spirulina or chlorophyll lifelong? Yes and no. Obviously, to me, they're not really a supplement. They're more of a superfood. However, you don't want to take something every single day ever for the rest of your life. I think that that's going to create issues. You don't want to do probiotics every day the rest of your life. You don't want to take anything consistently every single day forever except water. So if you're taking it seasonally or once a week, a couple times a week or every other week, a couple times a month, absolutely take it lifelong, but don't do it every single day for the rest of your life, because everything can become too much when it's done in excess. So always less is more with everything that you do. Sometimes more is more depending on a condition that you have. If you're really acidic and you need to alkalize really quickly, taking chlorella or spirulina every single day for a couple weeks or a couple months is absolutely necessary. But once your body's better functioning going forward, it should just be more of like a superfood. So something that you're having on a weekly basis or a couple times a month. Vanessa asks what I think about the keto diet. So I actually have a video on this channel. Vanessa, if you search Happy Holistic Life keto diet, you'll see a video on there. It's just so I don't have to repeat a lot of information, but long story short, I love the keto diet for certain people for a short period of time. It's not a diet I suggest following long term at all. It is very straining on the liver because it's so high in fat. It can strain the liver and the gallbladder quite intensely, and it can also make you pretty acidic. It can put you into ketoacidosis, and it happens quite quickly. So I always suggest, the best diet to follow would be an anti-inflammatory and alkaline, lower carb diet, but not carb free. That being said, certain people can really benefit from the keto diet, but again, for short term, if you have any sort of brain inflammation, brain type of condition like epilepsy or things like that, concussion type symptoms, absolutely keto diet can help, but again, it's not something you want to do long term, as it can strain other parts of the body, and our bodies are not meant to have that much fat all the time. So you can get more information from that video. Again, just search Happy Holistic Life Keto Diet and you should be able to find it. Okay. How to deal with halitosis if you have an imbalance in both mouth and gut currently. I'm having social anxiety. I also have SIBO. So Fatima, for those who don't know, halitosis is bad breath. This is a really common symptom or condition that most people will have if you have toxins. Bad breath, body odor, so bad smelling armpits or anything else is coming from two things: toxins being pushed out of the body and pathogens. They both produce really a lot of toxicity that will trigger the odor. So chlorophyll, liquid chlorophyll, will be your best friend for right now. I suggest drinking it every single day for a period of time if it's okay for you. So always check with a practitioner before taking a supplement. You also want to do a Candida and parasite type of cleanse to balance out and clear out the dysbiosis, obviously while taking liver and kidney drainage. Again, I have an ebook that has all of that in it on my website, holisticspring.com. You also want to do things orally. So a couple things that you can do would be to swish a drop of eucalyptus oil, essential oil, or tea tree essential oil in your mouth with coconut oil. So oil pull with coconut oil. Do maybe like a teaspoon of coconut oil and a drop of eucalyptus or a drop of tea tree, and do it every other day or even every day. You swish it in your mouth for 10 minutes, get that oil everywhere, and then spit it out into the garbage, and then rinse your mouth with water. You also can, brush your teeth using a natural toothpaste, but brush your teeth, twice a day, and continuously swish your mouth with probiotics. Take probiotics internally. These all can really help with the bad breath and all of that. But again, you want to get to the root cause of it, which is too much toxins in the body and dysbiosis. So cleansing the colon, the liver, the kidneys, cleaning out the pathogens will help improve your breath. Okay, Paul asks, this is a really random question, but if someone was on a keto diet all week, oh, sorry, I'm closing the chat. So was on a keto diet all week and then ate carbs on the weekends, in the long run, would that shock and stress the body, or does that sound fine? So Paul, I guess this is a form of carb cycling. If you guys haven't heard of carb cycling, you can Google it. There's so many different ways to do it. Some people do carb cycling where they do keto one day, eat carbs the next, or keto 3 days, eat carb on the fourth day. Some will do carbs on the weekend. So it really depends on what your goals are and why you're doing this type of diet. Really, if you're trying to follow like some type of diet just for weight itself, I don't think keto is the way to go. It can absolutely help with weight loss, yes, but the side effects for the liver, the kidneys, it's a lot. And I personally think there are different ways to lose weight than following a keto diet. And typically, if somebody's doing keto diet and then still eating carbs on the weekend, it's usually only reason to do that would be for weight. So I personally would say try to follow a lower carb, higher protein, some healthy fats, and lots of vegetable type diet. So again, alkaline, anti-inflammatory, lower carb. The carbs you would eat would be like buckwheat, quinoa, millet, berries, something like that. It won't shock your body going all fat and then having carbs. It doesn't shock the body at all. Your body actually can function well doing less carbs. So that the carb cycling part isn't the issue. It's having that much fat longer term. If you're talking about following a carb cycling type diet for a couple months, there's, it should work well for you. But if this is something that you're trying to do for a year or longer or lifelong, again, having keto specifically, which means fat, it can be really, really hard on the body. And most of us already have so much liver strain because of our environment, our stress levels, the bad foods we ate in our past, the medications we took in our past, the toxins we're exposed to daily. Our livers are already not working well. And when you go and put that much more strain by eating a high amount of fat, if you don't need to, it can cause issues. I did follow a keto diet when I was doing my Candida cleanse, back in the day, and it helped me amazingly well. And I am a fan of it, again, for temporary reasons. I was doing it for a few months only, and I got great results. But then after that, I went back and kind of transitioned into eating more carbs again and more proteins and other things, and it worked well. But again, it's not something that I believe you should be doing longer term. So I hope that answers your question, Paul. If not, feel free to comment some more. Do I have a practice? I do. I have a holistic nutrition and homeopathy practice. My website's holisticspring.com. I'm not taking on new clients right now, but I do have a wait list, and we go through it pretty quickly. If there's ever any cancellations or anything, we take people from the wait list. So if you ever want to work with me, you can just send us an email through the website. Or directly to health@holisticspring.com, and myself or my assistant can get you on the wait list. I only work with clients within Canada or the US though, and I do not work with clients who have Lyme disease or cancer. So just letting you guys know. Okay. Okay, Marissa says, I've cut out sugar and carbs in the past to fix Candida in my body and had horrible die-off reactions and muscle cramps and cravings. Seeing you as a client with your protocol, I've never had any of that. You're so sweet. Thank you. I'm glad that you haven't experienced that. I think that a lot of times when someone's Googling how to kill or fight off pathogens or Candida, the first thing that comes up is just cut out carbs. And people will do that and they don't get the results. And the reason is because it's not just carbs that are the problem. There's so much more to it. You always want to be supporting the liver and kidneys. It's the most important thing, more important than taking antifungals. And as long as you're eating the right carbs and the right balance of carbs to everything else and taking the right antifungals for you, you should be able to, again, have carbs on a Candida diet, just, again, the right ones. And you shouldn't be having die-off. Die-off is not a good sign. It does not mean that things are going well. Okay. Douglas says, I have been diagnosed with anxiety, fibromyalgia, Peyronie's disorder. If I was having a medical practitioner do a full testing, what test should I do? Genetics, nutrition, etc. So Douglas, if you have autoimmune, I personally would be asking for a full antibody panel. Have them look at food sensitivities, so IgG, IgE, IgA, but also have them check your antibody markers not once, but multiple times throughout the course of a few months to see the full picture of the antibody production that's happening. I would have them test your vitamin D levels, but both the 125 hydroxy D3 and 25 dihydroxy D3. I would get ferritin panels. You can ask them for CRP and IL-6 panels. So I would personally be asking for a full workup and maybe check thyroid as well. But your practitioner, if they're a functional medicine practitioner, would know what to look for more, as you're their client. They know your history and they can definitely recommend the best test for you. Also, genetic testing can be good because it tells you if you have certain genetic SNPs like MTHFR, PEMT, COMT SNPs, and depending on whether or not you have these SNPs, they can then recommend a protocol to support these deficiencies or imbalances that you have. So genetic testing can be beneficial, but it obviously comes down to budget. The test can get quite costly. And so I would be talking with your practitioner to see what's most important for you to get right now. I hope that answers your question. Let me see here. I'm going to be signing off soon, guys. Prasad, I will try to make a more detailed video on ulcers and H. pylori, but if you don't know, on holisticspring.org, I have a full IBS protocol video. It goes in depth, and on the membership platform, you guys get to ask any questions and you get full in-depth answers from me. There's also a chat room there. We have 2 live Zoom monthly calls. So there's so much more support there. If you want more help with your questions, you can always sign up. It's a really small fee that just helps us cover maintenance costs, and you get a lot of resources and information. So I do have an IBS protocol over there if you would like that. Okay, what else do we have? Let's see. Be blessed. I love your content. Thank you so much. Let me see here. What else? There's so many comments, so it's just taking me a minute to scroll, guys. Sorry. Please recommend another homeopathic international doctor if the prescription mentioned is not safe. Maria, I can't recommend homeopathics without working and doing a full intake on a client. The way the homeopathics work is you look at every single aspect of a person. So their temperament, their constitution, their physical appearance, their energy levels, and everything in between, their health history. You make a full symptom profile, and then you narrow it down from thousands of remedies to a dozen, and then from there you narrow it down to one, which is what we call the simillimum. And to do that, it's pretty in-depth and complicated. It can take a couple hours. So obviously, without knowing anything about you, I can't tell you if a homeopathic remedy is safe. As far as practitioners go, I don't know. The practitioners that I work with who are amazing work local to me, and they don't do virtual consults. So I don't honestly know any practitioner who works internationally. I would say look in your area. So wherever you live, search your area, your state, your city, your country, etc., and then search homeopathic practitioner and see who pops up in your area, and then reach out to them and learn a little bit more about them and see if they'll be a good fit for you. Because again, the ones that I work with are local to me and they don't do virtual. They're amazing, but they only work with clients who are here. So it can definitely be challenging to find somebody, but I always suggest just look in your area and see if you can find someone who can work with you. Okay, so to clarify my prior question, that moved. What are your recommendations for premenstrual dysphoric disorder, heavy bleeding, extreme fatigue, anxiety, brain fog? Got it after childbirth. There's definitely some things going on there. First couple things that come to mind, usually I would say you need more estrogen support, or it could be too much estrogen. It's hard to know because estrogen deficiency or estrogen dominance, someone's calling. Estrogen deficiency or estrogen dominance can cause similar issues, so you would need to get a hormone panel done. I would say go for a functional medicine doctor's panel. They will tell you the best approach. They'll know which hormones to look for, which panel to send you for, but depending on the results that come back, they can give you support to balance those hormones naturally. Without knowing more, I can't really give you much more information. But the other thing that I see a lot is people with that type of condition has a lot of inflammation. So you also want to find out, well, why do I have all this inflammation? What's causing it? Could be nutrient deficiencies. Growing a human, giving birth to this human, it requires so much resources from you, right? Fats, minerals, proteins, etc. So finding out if it's simply nutrient deficiencies and then taking supplements to support it, or it could be something deeper. Could be autoimmune, there could be dysbiosis at the root of it, there could be so many other issues. And it's when you have a condition that is hormonally complex, I don't really have much recommendations to give you here without knowing more information, unfortunately. So the first thing I would suggest is ask a functional medicine doctor to send you for a full hormonal panel. They will watch your hormones throughout your entire month or sometimes 2 months, and see what's going on at a deeper level. There are some things that you can do, like definitely working on your circadian rhythm and balancing that out. So important, because our circadian rhythm is what balances our hormones in the first place. And if you're not sleeping or eating with that rhythm, that can affect it. So if you want to try some things at home, you can do the tips that I mentioned earlier in this video about eating and sleeping with your circadian rhythm. I would suggest taking some kind of iron supplement, like a liver. I like Genestra TLIP. It's TLIP. Vital Proteins has grass-fed beef liver capsules, so maybe try that, just to give you some nutrition during this time, and obviously a multivitamin as well. But just the extreme fatigue, the brain fog, the anxiety, it's telling me that there's a lot of inflammation, most likely coming from toxins. I'm sorry if that's not helpful enough. That's probably all I can share with you, again, without knowing more. And does having many moles genetically correlate with any kind of parasite? So moles, can come from a couple things. They can be due to certain imbalances that you have in the body, and there are some great homeopathics that work on that. But more importantly, there's usually a fungal component to moles, and there's also an inflammatory component and a toxicity component. When your cells are full of toxins and your body's really out of balance, it actually changes the DNA of your system. And this genetic changes in DNA and all that can create imbalances and mutations. And when moles are developing, there's usually some form of immune imbalance happening that's allowing this to occur. So I find that immune modulation works wonders for people. Now it comes down to finding out if you're Th2 dominant, Th1 dominant, Th17 or Th9 dominant. So you, again, have to work with a practitioner to figure that out. But a lot of times, again, if there's moles being produced, there's dysbiosis usually, and immune imbalance. So you need to just get to the root cause of that immune imbalance, balance it out, and then your body will be targeting these toxins that are damaging the DNA of your cells and all that much more efficiently. And then the moles should, be produced less and less and less. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Thank you, everybody. You're so sweet. Love89 says, what is your ethnicity? Oh, thank you. I am Lebanese and Iraqi. So my mom was from Lebanon and my dad was from Iraq. So Middle Eastern, hence the crazy curly hair. That's unmanageable. Okay, let's see more. Oh, by the way, for those of you who aren't, if you want to know more like about me personally, or just follow day to day on what I eat, supplements I take, and get a ton of health tips, you guys can follow me on Instagram. My handle is at Marla's Healthy Life. I share every single day things that I eat, things that I drink, tons of recipes, Candida friendly recipes, keto recipes, all kinds of things, and a lot of health information as well. And I also do live videos there. So if you guys want to know more just about me, but also get more content, you guys can follow me there as well. All right, what else? Okay, so David, adrenal. Yes, everybody has adrenal issues. Can you briefly review this? I found out that I have hyperthyroid, but what I recognize is that I have overtaxed my adrenals. I actually just made a video on YouTube about the adrenals, so I would suggest watching it. I think it's my latest video, actually. I could be wrong. I think it is my latest video, Adrenal Fatigue. And I go in depth on the adrenals, what they do, how to support them. So I would just say check that video out, because I'm going to be signing off here soon. And I think that video can just really give you a lot of help. And then if you have further questions, you can comment them in the comments of that video. And I do try to get back to everyone. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but I do try. All right, I'm just scrolling really quickly here now. Paul says, my question about keto was more related to brain fog than fat loss, but thank you for the info. Okay, yeah, so if you're having brain fog and you're eating a high amount of fat, I think that could actually bog the system down even more. Think of it like this way. When you are having, this is an analogy that I share with all my clients, and I'll share with you guys and then maybe end here. It's in relation to the liver and kidneys. And it'll come back to this keto question in a minute. So when you have, picture a bathtub, and say the water's pouring in from the tap. So maybe your tap broke and now water's just pouring in and your tub is filling up. If you don't want your tub to overflow and have a massive issue in your bathroom, all you have to do is unplug the drain of the bathtub and the water will drain very quickly, and then at least the tub won't overflow, even if water's continuously pouring in. But what happens if you go to unplug the drain and it's clogged with hair and gunk and all that other nasty stuff and the water can't drain? So now you have water pouring in from the tap into the tub, the water level's rising very quickly, and water's coming into the tub quicker than it's trickling out from the drain. And so eventually the water overflows out of the bathtub, gets all over the bathroom, and now you have a massive issue on your hands. You have baseboards and floor that's destroyed, water seeps into the basement, and now the basement ceiling's destroyed, and you have mold issues and everything else, all as a result of an overflowing bathtub. So that's the analogy. Now picture that your liver and kidneys are the drain, the clogged drain, the drain that gets clogged by toxins over time, and water that's pouring into the tub and overflowing into the body. Picture that to be your toxins. So in our body, we have water or toxins pouring in 24/7 from dysbiosis, from foods we're eating, from metabolism, from toxins we're breathing, from water we're drinking, etc. You guys get the picture. So toxins are pouring in or flooding in, and our liver and kidneys over the years have been so overburdened by this toxicity and glyphosate and stress and food and medications and everything else that they are clogged. So toxins are trickling out through your urine and stool, but pouring in. You now have an overflowing bathtub or body or system, overflowing body of toxins. And this is the start of disease, and this is the start of inflammation and all the symptoms that you have. So, Paul, to answer your question, when your body is so full of toxins, it's passing the blood-brain barrier. It's sitting in your bloodstream, circulating through the body. It's passing the blood-brain barrier, and that's what's triggering the brain fog. So now to bring it to, I guess, to answer your question and tie the keto diet into this, picture the drain again, and picture throwing fatty stuff in there. Picture coconut oil going into your drain, and avocado and animal fats, saturated fats from butter or whatever else, right? Just picture all of that going into the drain. Do you feel like that would declog the drain or clog it more? Most of us will assume fats harden and will clog the drain more. And that's how it works with our liver and kidneys. Fats are healthy and incredible for our brain, but before they can do anything for the brain, they have to be broken down, separated, stored, utilized, converted by the liver. The liver is already bogged down and congested. The last thing you want to do is congest it further by adding more excess fats into the diet. Now, I'm not saying that fats in general aren't good. I have fats every day, left and right, from chia seeds to coconut milk to trail mix. So have your fats, but the thing with keto diet is it's too much fat when your liver is bogged down. And when you have brain fog, that's telling you that your liver is, you have a lot of toxins. Well, why do you have a lot of toxins? Because they can't exit. Why can't they exit? Because the liver and kidneys, which is what it's how our body detoxifies, are not working. They're clogged. So when you picture declogging types of foods, what are you picturing? Probably hot stuff, right? Like broths and excuse me, I need a drink. Hot teas, herbal teas, bone broths, spicy things like ginger and garlic, and things that can decongest, some fresh fruit, lots of fiber and vegetables. These are the things that are decongesting. And so these are the types of foods you want to eat if you have brain fog. You want to decongest the liver and kidneys. So hot lemon water if you don't have enamel or teeth issues. Bone broths or medicinal mushroom broths if you're vegan. You want to do a lot of herbal teas. You want to have warming spices like ginger and cinnamon and all that good stuff. Lean proteins like chicken, turkey. A little bit of lamb or wild caught fish is fine. And then fiber coming from complex carbs like, well, first chia and flax and that stuff, but carbs would be like buckwheat or quinoa, lentils, and then of course plenty of vegetables, dark leafy green salads or asparagus, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, berries, grapefruit, which is really cleansing for the liver and kidneys. So picture decongesting and then reduce the congesting type of foods like sugars, starches, and fats. Does that clarify a little bit more? Paul, I hope it does. And for all of you as well who are wondering about the keto diet or how the liver and kidneys function in general, it's something that everybody honestly has. Like, I haven't had one client, and I've worked with over 700 something clients to date, and I haven't had one client who's come to me and hasn't had liver and kidney congestion. If you have any symptoms, any disease, any health issue, your bathtub has overflown. And why has it overflown? Because your eliminatory organs, liver, kidney, lungs, are clogged. And why are they clogged? Years and years of damage, of toxicity exposure, etc. So always, before you do anything else, declog those elimination pathways using drainage and cleansing methods. Again, I have drainage protocols on the membership platform. I have an ebook that has some support, or you could work with me. Again, you would be on a wait list, but eventually I'd get you in, or find another practitioner who can support you, or do your own research and try to, cleanse your liver and kidneys on their own. But that should be the start of your journey, and keto diet can be part of it, but should it not be done initially. The liver and kidneys really need to get working before you congest them further. Fats are congesting. If you have mucus, if you're like, excuse me, coughing up phlegm, if you have stuffed nose, if you feel like you have yeast infections or any type of mucus, don't do fats. They're very congesting for the body. So when you get to a point where you want to try the keto diet, just make sure you've decongested first, following a more anti-inflammatory diet. Okay. I just been talking all day today with consults and stuff, and I haven't had enough water, and my throat's getting really dry. So I'm probably going to sign off. I'm so glad that is making sense for everyone. Always just picture that bathtub analogy. It sounds gross to picture a drain clogged with hair and stuff, but it applies. It's a good real life example. I'm sure everybody's had a clogged drain at some point. So it's just a good way to visualize how our body functions. And again, the moment you have that flooding, the water overflows, that's when your body has too much and it can't handle it, and that's when the disease process begins. That's when your symptoms start. So address that, and always think decongesting. Fats are very congesting. The fats that you can have when your body and liver is so congested are fibrous fats like chia and flax. Some nuts and seeds are absolutely healthy and beneficial. Cooking with a little bit of coconut oil or olive oil is fine. And a little bit of fat coming from some meat or something is fine too, or a couple slices of avocado. But you don't want to be doing fat at breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, etc. It should really be cleansing, light, very light foods, because they're the easiest to break down for the liver. That's all from me for tonight, guys. Thank you all so much for joining and getting to talk to you all. I know it's been a while, but again, if you guys want to hear more from me, follow me on Instagram and check out the membership platform. I'm much more present there, but I do have some more videos lined up for YouTube coming this month. So stay tuned for all that good stuff. I will talk to you guys soon. I hope you have a great night and a great rest of your week. And I hope that everybody's staying safe and healthy. Talk to you all soon.